How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We're going to take a look at Workhorse today because they're down about 3.5%. This is after they were down yesterday, too, on the announcement that their the USPS decision wasn't going to be for a little bit longer. So a lot of people thought October 13. We had heard that from Roth Capital, October 13, October 13, October 13. We were going to get this contract, and then they came out and said that they were pushing it back. So they said that the USPS had reached out to them, and because of everything that's going on, they had to push back the date. Now, a lot of people were asking me whether this is a ploy, pump and dump scam by Roth Capital. So I'll talk about that, but I want to talk about some good news that came out today. And also, if you stay through to the end, I'm not even putting this in a thumbnail or anything, but ARK Invest did buy some more shares of Workhorse since I made my video yesterday even. So we're going to talk about that towards the end. But before we start, if you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I really appreciate it. Been getting some great feedback from these Workhorse videos. I know a lot of the people that watch my videos are interested in Workhorse. I did do a video on NIO or NEO earlier today, so definitely take a look at that. And the growth stocks that I am buying is coming out later today, so definitely check out that later today. So I appreciate it. Also, if you want 2 free stocks through WeBull, you can check the link down below. It really helps out the channel a lot, and it's a great way for you to make some easy money in just a couple minutes. So thank you guys for doing that. Just deposit $100. So Workhorse is down about 3.3% today. And I wanted to talk about the really good news that came out today, which actually came out from California. I'm going to go through why it's so important and why it can save so many different customers a lot of money with Workhorse vehicles. So if we take a look here, Workhorse received an additional executive order from the California Air Board for its C1000 extended range electric truck. So a lot of people are kind of confused on this. They did not order trucks. They announced something here, and I'll talk about it here. But they designated this model as a zero-emission vehicle in the state of California. So this has previously been done in July for just their normal range delivery truck. However, this is for their extended range. So I'm going to talk about why this is really important and how it could save a lot of people money and increase their sales. So it says under Section 177 of the Clean Air Act, California as well as 13 other states have adopted vehicle standards which require additional approvals beyond EPA regulations. So this means that the executive order permits Workhorse to sell its C1000 extended range electric vehicle van in every state throughout the U.S. This is their CEO talking. Adding our extended range model to the CARB approved list provides us with yet another option of potential buyers looking to electrify their fleets in more than a dozen energy-focused states. We have submitted the application for getting this vehicle model into HVIP, which I'll explain why that's super important in a minute, which will be a material sales driver as additional funds become available through the program. Going forward, we're continuing to improve our vehicle capabilities as evidenced by our recent near 160-mile range achievement and are leveraging all available resources to further strengthen the total cost ownership, making Workhorse trucks even more affordable than their ICE counterparts. So this is quite interesting. The reason that I think it's so interesting is this HVIP eligibility. So what does this mean? Well, there is something that is set up where California partnered with CallStart, and they launched this voucher program to give companies extra initiatives to buy electric in California. So this might be done by other states too, but California is an interesting beast in that it taxes so heavily. They do have a lot of tax revenue, and they are very focused on becoming green. So let's take a look at these voucher initiatives. So if we look at these GVWR, the Workhorse C1000s are $12,500. So they're in this range here. If they're outside the disadvantaged communities, they get $50,000 for their voucher. And if they're in disadvantaged communities, they get $55,000. So what does this mean? Well, we can kind of take a look at this site by Green Power, which is also one of these companies. It says the Hybrid and Zero Emission Truck and Bus Voucher Incentive Program, or HVIP, offers point-of-sale initiatives for clean trucks and buses in California. HVIP dealers offer price-reduced vehicles directly to purchasers. Purchasers do not need to submit final proposals. They do not have to do any kind of really complicated paperwork, and they don't have to wait to be reimbursed. Incentives are locked in at the time of the purchase order, and dealers process the required documentation. So it's very easy for these companies to just get this right up front. Under this HVIP eligible vehicle catalog, there are a lot of vehicles. However, in the smaller weight range and in the delivery segment, we are the only vehicles here. You can see we're the only vehicles. So there are $50,000 worth of vehicle incentives. So this could essentially bring some of these costs down to near zero for these companies. Of course, they might have to, fit their location with some of these charging stations, or they might have to pay up a little bit up front, maybe $5,000-$10,000. And who knows what Workhorse's vehicle cost will actually be. But definitely that is something that's interesting with Workhorse that a lot of people aren't covering. But this could make the cost of these vehicles very low. And as we progress, we are buying more and more items that need delivery, right? Because most of us shop online now. Everything is moving online to e-commerce. So that is something that's very worth considering going forward, that this is going to be a massive driver, assuming that these vehicles are good quality. Now, a lot of people were asking me about Roth Capital, about whether I think it's a pump and dump. They had come out just last Friday, I believe it was, on the October 9, whatever date that was, and said that they were expecting the USPS decision by October 13. Now, it had been out for a while on eventrucks.com that we were looking towards the end of the year. The USPS said we would get a decision by the end of the year. A lot of us thought, including me, that Roth Capital had reached out and previously talked to them and gotten some new information that we would know by October 13. And I said in my videos that, I think we'll probably hear about it this month, but we could definitely hear about it by the end of the year, and it might be a lot longer. And then Roth Capital, after they made that announcement on the 9th, said yesterday that we weren't going to get the contract until the end of the year, that we weren't going to hear about the contract until the end of the year. They lowered their price target from 33 to 27 just in a few days based on this information. Now, I'm not going to say this was a pump and dump. I don't know that for certain, and I don't think that it's good to, slander any companies or talk badly about them, but it is very fishy, right? For them to come out 3 or 4 days earlier and say that they had raised their price target and then they lowered it a few days later all on their own without hearing anything from the USPS. Like, we haven't heard anything. Apparently this was all them talking to them. Seems a little bit fishy. Now, I will point out too, even since I talked about ARK Invest yesterday buying shares, they have bought more shares. So yesterday, their weighting for Workhorse was about 2.79% of the portfolio. Now it's dropped a little bit to 2.48%, but they did buy more shares. So they bought about another 16,000 shares. So what I think is happening is they're just getting a lot of money put in this ETF. And we heard about this yesterday in the comment section. A lot of people are saying, oh, you should just buy ARK Invest ETF now that they're buying more Workhorse. Spread out your risk, which is definitely a good way to go if you want to do that. But we can look here. It says on here that their net assets was $317 million. Now, this was as of 6/30/2020. I ran the numbers yesterday, and based on all the market values in here, it was a lot higher than that. Just yesterday when I ran it, it was around $700 to $800 million worth. So they've definitely increased this. They're almost triple the size that they were before. So this could account for them buying more shares, that they're just buying equal weightings, or maybe they're setting new target weights for these companies. But that's definitely something to consider when we hear about ARK Invest buying more shares. So I'm going to pay closer attention to that and hopefully do a better job of explaining that, but definitely consider that going forward. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I appreciate it. I think this was good news for Workhorse today with the potential for HVIP eligibility for their extended range truck. I think that's going to be huge going forward with them being able to sell, especially in California and some of these other green states. But let me know your thoughts. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Be on the lookout for that other video on the high growth stocks, and check out my video from NIO, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.